Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We are going back to that horrible world known as the JRC, but before we do the usual disclaimers, and if you wonder why I'm in workout clothes, folks, that's because I overslept and I'm insane. Routine is routine, whether I get up late or not. All right. If you're unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to find all the pertinent links right there in the description box. Please, in particular, take note of the article written by NeuroClastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics. In it, they interviewed over 800 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so-called behavior modification program. The Judge Rotenberg Educational Center doesn't want you to read that article so much. They threatened NeuroClastic with a defamation lawsuit if they did not remove it from the website. NeuroClastic refused, so you know the drill. Please read the article. Share on all your social media. Also included in there is NeuroClastic's public statement regards to the defamation lawsuit threat, as well as a link to their GoFundMe. We are crowdfunding just in case the JRC ever actually does see through with their threat. Trigger warning 1, when we discuss places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School for Boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips of surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please utilize your headphones. Trigger warning 2, this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We use profanity on occasion and speak on dark subjects. If your child is 16 and younger and they are watching this, very obviously parental supervision is very much advised. Also, not so much a trigger warning as it's apparently just a thing now. My allergies are attacking with a vengeance. I am like clogged, but it's like a dry clog, so you might hear weird noises coming out of me. I do not have any idea how to edit these things, so apologies in advance for that, alright? Okay, where we left off last time. Response. The FDA acknowledges that there is language regarding treatment resistance that does not precisely define a refractory subpopulation, and labeling for certain other devices have different we went over this last time. This is where they're making them re-argue the thing that they just very clearly argued a paragraph before, and we are literally going around in circles. And I do hope that they had a stiff drink after going through all of this, because if I had to answer the same argument presented in about 50 different ways over and over and over again for damn near a decade, I would need a drink. And I've been sober for 6 years. Let's move on, shall we? Further, for ECT, there are better defined hierarchies of treatment options prior to use of ECT, based on data demonstrating instances where other appropriate treatment options were tried and failed. In other words, folks, there is a protocol before folks that use ECT for mental health issues or whatever it's being used for that they go through beforehand. It's not something that we try something else for a weekend, we automatically deviate to it. No. As with everything, there's steps involved. Those steps are there for a reason. It's because the steps work. Alright? Number 2, I'm beyond tired of having this conversation. ECT is not the same thing as an ESD. The reasons for which they are used are different. The consent is different. A good majority of doctors are so kind of scared of potential lawsuits that before people engage in regular ECT treatment, they have to sign a waiver beforehand so that the people who are assisting them in that treatment are not going to get sued into the Stone Age. Okay? We also know with ECT that literally every single thing that can be possibly done to make the individual receiving the treatment as comfortable as possible and that the treatment itself is as painless as possible is taken. Everything. Okay? So, first, plain and clear consent. Two, the way that these two different treatments, they call one a treatment, we all know that it's not, are the way that they are approached are entirely different. Okay? An ECT is not designed to provide painful shocks directly to your brainstem to stop you from having what neurotypicals call troublesome behaviors. Okay? The ESD is designed, again, Dr. Israel's own words. Remember, we saw that little news report. Of course it hurts. It's supposed to hurt. They're supposed to be afraid of it so they know not to do it again. Again, doctor, ask those parents from the 90s how will corporal punishment actually, in any way, shape, or form, help to restrict us from our more risky, brain dead, absolutely reckless, potentially life threatening behaviors. Because it didn't. A good majority of the time, once we got past the punishment, we would do even more reckless, stupid shit. Okay? I know. I lived during the time. I was one of those people going down Dead Man's Hill with no brakes and no helmet. No spanking that I have received beforehand after mentioning the very idea or after in any way, shape, or form stopped me from having a severe case of the dumb. Alright? Okay? The only thing we can absolutely 100% confirm about the GED is the very exact same thing we can confirm with any time anyone has violence visited upon them. A potential pause and stopping of what you're doing. Again, we're not signing up teenagers with behavioral problems who are neurotypical to have someone punch them in the face or shock them every time they do something stupid. So why are we allowing it for disabled kids? It's simple. It's a sad, dark truth. Because we are not considered equal to neurotypical kids. Neurotypical kids are above us in the pecking order. We are literally second class citizens, okay? Even in the ways that we are approached in regards to behavior. My brother has done some of the dumbest, most brain dead, reckless shit on planet Earth. Okay? However, as he grew up, became an adult, and matured, besides the occasional parent to bring it up to embarrass him about him being stupid, it's not following him everywhere around like a ghost. Let's compare that to my neurodivergent ass. Okay? I knifed an ottoman when I was a kid. It was in a bizarre act of self defense when I was being attacked by the person I've told you all about so often, and I reacted. I knifed an ottoman while trying to get to him. It's, it's not good, folks. I don't like it. It's an ugly part of my past. Very much fight and flight, and it had my picture next to it in the dictionary. Okay? Now, all of my brothers have done way stupider crap than that. Things that, except for the grace of God, they could have very much ended up very dead. Those actions still follow them around everywhere or are brought up by literally everyone inside a circle of support. Me, on the other end, having been 10 years old at the time, you want to know what gets brought up every goddamn time I see the shrink. So, have you engaged in this type of behavior recently? Yeah. If you don't notice that there is a very severe distinction in between how their bad behavior is handled and how ours is handled, I got beachfront property in Kansas to sell you. Okay? Just saying, but sorry, I completely rambled off topic. Let me circle back to where we were, shall we? For example, the APA has issued recommendations for determining when use of ECT may be appropriate, as has the National Institute for Health and Clinical Excellence in the United Kingdom. In other words, there are standards and protocols that must be followed that have been developed in regards to ECT treatment to do exactly what I had just said previously, to make the person as comfortable as possible, to minimize the invasiveness as much as humanly possible during the treatment, and to afterwards, the before and after care, to make it as painless and seamless as humanly possible. All of these things are not done in any way, shape, or form when the ESD is being used. There is no oversight, there is no scrutiny. And before you tell me, but the JRC has doctors, using oversight the doctors whose paychecks you're paying instead of having an outside source that can monitor when need be are not the same things. Okay? Please spare me. Let's continue, shall we? Thus, the use of treatment-resistant language for EST in light of the data and format evidence-based practice guidelines reflects a much clearer consensus than is available for the use of ESDs for SIB or AB. In other words, their clinical studies, research, and data that have gone into studying this particular treatment have helped lay the groundwork for what protocols are in place should that be the last option on the table. The ESD is the first option on the table. Don't give me your bullshit JRC. Everything else has been tried my ass. You cannot say that honestly to my face when we know for a fact that a good majority of the folks who end up in your hellhole have never received a proper full functional behavioral assessment done after diagnosis. Okay? You can try everything in the world, but if it's based off of nothing, there's a good chance that it's going to fail every time because you don't know what those program covers in regards to autism or your kid's specific issues. You don't even know if it's a good fit because you don't have a baseline. Therefore, it doesn't matter if you throw them into 100 different residential or community-based programs. If you lay no groundwork, it's not gonna work. God, I went Missouri. Sorry about that. Let's continue, shall we? I have been lost my spot. Sorry, folks. JRC is not established that its residents on whom ESDs are used are refractory to other treatments, and evidence shows that the state-of-the-art alternative have generally been more successful even for the most difficult cases. Don't miss me with the Kool-Aid drinking bullshit, you JRC apologist bastards. You can scream it from the rooftops all that you want to, but at the end of the day, as we always say here, the numbers don't lie. People do. Okay? Accordingly, EST is distinguishable. And FDA's determination remains that labeling or change in labeling cannot correct or eliminate the substantial and unreasonable risks of illness or injury in ESDs for SIB or AB. So they are saying, in a very complicated, very wordy, roundabout way, is you can't compare these two types of treatment because the only thing that is the same between the two of them is that they both utilize electricity, and that's literally where the similarities end. To even try to bring this up as an argument and say, let's see, with better labeling and stuff, they can now do it better is still, again, not addressing second and third degree burns. A student, very famously, I might add, being shocked literally into catatonia for 2 months. It doesn't cover the individuals who were on the highest voltage of the GED, where the electrodes are put, who have lost feeling in those areas. It does not address the psychological trauma. It literally continues to address nothing. But if there's tighter protocols on who we allow to be on it, what part of that doesn't change the risks is difficult to wrap your brain around here. First of all, science says, the numbers say, that's horse shit. More often than not, when you talk to these individuals, you find out that proper groundwork was never laid out. So, of course, sending these kids from place to place to place is not going to work. They have a treatment program based on nothing. Okay? Pretty simple, right? Quit comparing things that are not even remotely like one another. And quit trying to use that as camouflage to not address the actual risks that have been repeated into infinity at this point. We're going to go ahead and close out on that, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel. The few we do tend to get removed from time to time. You know the drill. Please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Please don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time. And as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you have a good one. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everyone.